If you're thinking about starting carnivore, or maybe you're just a few weeks in and you're wondering, is this normal? What about that? Hello fam, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is DeeDee. On this channel, we talk through my weight loss journey, weight loss tips, my whole carnivore experience. I share meal recipe ideas and so much more. So if that's something you're into, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button and join the family. Okay, so a lot of you already know that a few weeks ago, I just celebrated my 90 days on carnivore. And as I was thinking through my experience and just reflecting on my journey, I started thinking of a few things that I was actually surprised about in the beginning of my journey. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that I wish somebody would have told me or I would have known when starting carnivore as a woman. Because our experience on carnivore can look a little different. All right, let's jump right in. So the first thing I wish someone would have just pulled me to the side and told me was, listen, girl, you're getting on this carnivore diet and your hormones might get a little wonky. Okay, they might act up. Reason being is my cycle started acting up within the first month. This is something that has been consistent, routine for the past few years. So all of a sudden, now it's shorter, and then the next month, it just skipped. So you already know I panicked. What is going on? No. Okay. So I started doing my research, right? Because I needed to understand what is going on. And I realized my body was just recalibrating, especially with being over restricted for so long. I was low fat forever. I've tried every diet. And I remember being low fat forever. I just thought low fat is everything, very restrictive, then moved on to low carb. I used to do low calories. So my body was just recalibrating and really adapting to the carnivore diet. For some women, cycles disappear. And for some women, they become regular after not being regular for so many years. So overall, I just wish somebody would have just told me, hey, girl, this carnivore diet might impact your cycle or even your hormones in general. Then I wouldn't have panicked. So now you know. Now let's talk about cravings, because this one caught me a little off guard in the beginning. Because right now I don't have cravings, and I was never really big into sugars, cakes. I just love like chips. But in the beginning of carnivore, for some reason, I was craving like sugar stuff. I was eating cookies from the pantry that my husband would eat or my daughter would eat. I actually wanted sugary stuff, especially around my cycle. And I was thinking, what the heck is going on? Because I've been low carb and keto for a while. Why am I craving this stuff? Maybe I'm doing something wrong with this carnivore diet. But that wasn't the case at all. So even though I know that as a woman, our hunger, our cravings might shift a little bit at different points in our cycle, that wasn't a problem for me previous. So it kind of surprised me and caught me off guard. So what I did instead of falling into temptation was just making sure that I was adding fat to my meals and eating until I was full. And it was also like a little learning moment for me back then. Like, just because you crave sugar doesn't mean you necessarily need the sugar. And within the first few weeks of really getting into the carnivore diet, my cravings eventually faded away. Now, let's talk about fat. Fat. I grew up fearing fat. That's just the honest truth. I avoided it. I measured it. I judged it. Like, fat was just not my friend growing up. But on carnivore, we need fat. So the crazy thing is, once I shifted my mindset to understand that, that's when things started shifting for me. My energy levels, my skin glowing, and feeling satisfied after my meals, and not just eating a meal and thinking about food 10 minutes later. That doesn't happen anymore. So if you're just starting, make sure that you're incorporating your fat. You can get fat from beef tallow, bacon grease, ghee, butter, or even fatty cuts of meat. At first, it felt kind of wrong pouring butter all over my meal. But you already know I have no problem doing that now. Now, the fourth thing I wish I knew was that I did not need a calculator on Carnivore. I was so used to tracking everything: calories, macros, bites, steps. I was always tracking. So just starting initially, it kind of felt like, well, how do I know if I'm doing it right? I know I did my research, I know I watched the videos, but I still started Carnivore with trying to do what I always learned. Make sure you're eating 3 meals a day. If you're snacking, these are the types of snacks. So there were times when I first started that I was trying to do that and I felt like I was forcing myself to eat. So what I wish I knew was that all I really needed was to learn my hunger cues all over again. And the more I listened to my body, I realized hunger is not the enemy and being full is nothing to fear. So what I do now is I just eat until I'm full and I eat when I'm truly hungry. Now, the last thing is truly personal, but I want to share it. You will change from the inside out. Like before starting Carnivore, I was always second guessing myself. I didn't trust my body. Shoot, I didn't even trust that I could follow through with the 90 days on this carnivore diet. There was a part of me that initially was motivated, but there was also a small part that was skeptical on whether or not I'd be able to succeed. But slowly, meal by meal, day by day, I started rebuilding that trust. I proved to myself that I can commit and that I could show up even when it was hard. And that trust started spilling over in other areas of my life. I stopped hiding, I started standing up straighter, and I started feeling more confident. And honestly, this tip is for any weight loss journey, health journey, or healing journey that you're on. Once you get to the point where food no longer controls your life, that's when you get your peace. And that peace is priceless. All right, so let's recap. Things I wish I knew. 1, your hormones may react, but that's just part of the process. 2, cravings don't mean you're failing. It's just something that happens sometimes. Add a little bit more fat. Make sure you're eating until you're full, and that will help you fight that temptation. 3, fat is not your enemy. Eat your fat, girl. You don't need a calculator. And the biggest change will be in your mindset. So if you're starting carnivore or even low carb or keto, I see you because I was you. And I'm here to tell you that if you stick with it, this journey will transform your life in ways that you didn't even expect. Carnivore is not just about food, it's about freedom. And as women, we deserve that. I hope this video helped you in some way. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.